What's happening? Welcome to the Vibe with Big Heavy podcast. It's your boy Big Heavy, and today I will be doing my first From the Hood to Conspiracy. This is where I'll be covering conspiracy theories, all different types. Today we starting with surviving P Diddy. Biggie Mama speaks out. Let's go.
Lights went off. Everything came crashing down.
We stopped at the light. When we stopped at the light, I see some chicks on the curb. Me yelling out the window, yo, mom, what's up? Yo, it's good. And before you know it, a car just rolled up, started popping in the car. Didn't say nothing, didn't yell nothing. Just pop, 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 pop.
Christopher George Latore Wallace was born in Brooklyn on May 21st, 1972, to Jamaican immigrant parents. His mom, Voletta Wallace, was a preschool teacher, and his dad, Selwyn George Latore, was a welder and politician. His father left when he was 2, and his mom worked 2 jobs to support him. Growing up in Brooklyn, Biggie faced struggles with depression and started dealing drugs around age 12, although his mom learned about it later. As a teen, he got into rapping, performing on the streets and with local groups. His early stage name was MC Quest, and he learned jazz from saxophonist Donald Harrison. He switched schools, attending George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School with Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes. Despite being a good student, Biggie developed a know-it-all attitude. At 17, in 1989, he dropped out of high school and got involved in crime, leading to arrests for weapons charges and probation violations. In 1990, he faced another arrest in North Carolina for dealing crack cocaine, spending 9 months in jail. After his release, he created a demo tape called Microphone Murderer as Biggie Smalls, a name inspired by a film character and his own stature. DJ Mr. C promoted the tape, and it caught the attention of the Source Rap magazine. Featured in Unsigned Hype, Biggie's demo gained him recognition.
I remember this around
Diddy
the
arranged
time
a meeting.
Biggie was blowing up.
Did you know?
And Biggie signed to Uptown Records in 1992. When Diddy was fired from Uptown, he started Bad Boy Records, making Biggie his first artist. In 1993, Biggie's girlfriend gave birth to his daughter, Tiana. Despite their separation, he promised her the best. Combs, discovering Biggie's continued involvement in drug dealing, insisted he stop. Biggie gained exposure with remixes of Mary J. Blige's songs and adopted the moniker, The Notorious.
See, that's what made me think Diddy had something to do with Biggie Death. Biggie out there hustling, doing everything he do to get money. Obviously, Diddy couldn't pay him at the time because they were just starting the label, and Biggie was his first artist. But all of a sudden, after Biggie passed away, P Diddy on the top. Was it the insurance thing? I don't know. As these series continue, I will be digging down and getting deep into it, and we'll be touching all them topics. Let's go.
Big. He became friends with Tupac Shakur around this time, with Lil Cease recalling their close bond. Biggie's solo track, Party and Bullshit, was released in 1994, and he appeared on remixes with LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes. The journey of the iconic rapper was just beginning. On August 4th, 1994, Biggie married R&B singer Faith Evans, whom he had met 8 days prior at a Bad Boy photo shoot. 5 days later, he had his first pop chart success as a solo artist with double A-side, Juicy, Unbelievable, which reached number 27 as the lead single to his debut album. Ready to Die was released on September 13th, 1994. It reached number 13 on the Billboard 200 chart and was eventually certified 4 times platinum. The album shifted attention back to East Coast hip.
We gonna dig into Faith as well, because that was a kind of quick marriage. They hooked up and got married real fast. And I'm gonna see her story while we doing this to see if her and Diddy had something going on where she could have been involved. Let's go.
Hop at a time when West Coast hip-hop dominated U.S. charts. It gained strong reviews and has received much praise in retrospect. In addition to Juicy, the record produced 2 hit singles, the platinum-selling Big Papa, which reached number 1 on the U.S. rap chart, and One More Chance, which sold 1.1 million copies in 1995. Busta Rhymes claimed to have seen Biggie giving out free copies of Ready to Die from his home, which Rhymes reasoned as his way of marketing himself. Biggie also befriended basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal said they were introduced during a listening session for Gimme the Loot. Biggie mentioned him in the lyrics and thereby attracted O'Neal to his music. O'Neal requested a collaboration with Biggie, which resulted in the song You Can't Stop the Rain. According to Diddy, Biggie would not collaborate with anybody he didn't really respect, and that Biggie paid O'Neal his respect by shouting him out. Biggie later met with O'Neal on Sunset Boulevard in 1997.
Biggie didn't want to do a lot of music
Daz
with
Dillinger,
people that he
a
didn't
frequent
respect,
Shakur collaborator,
and Diddy was
said
on
that
the
he and
money
Biggie were
chase.
cool,
So that
with
could have
Biggie
been
traveling
part
to
of the
meet him to
reason
smoke
as well.
cannabis and record 2 songs. In the summer, Biggie met Charlie Baltimore, and they began a romantic relationship. Several months into their relationship, she left him a voicemail of a rap verse that she had written, and he began encouraging her to pursue a career in rap music. Biggie was booked to perform in Sacramento. When his group arrived at the venue, there were there, and when they started performing, they were getting coins tossed at them. When they left, they were held at gunpoint in the venue's parking lot, allegedly set up by E40's goons who were angry about an interview Biggie did with a Canadian magazine. In August 1995, Biggie's protege group, Junior Mafia, Junior Masters at Finding Intelligent Attitudes, released their debut album, Conspiracy. The group consisted of his friends from childhood and included rappers such as Lil Kim and Lil Cease, who went on to have solo careers. The record went gold, and its singles, Player's Anthem and Get Money, both featuring Biggie, went gold and platinum. Biggie continued to work with R&B artists, collaborating with R&B groups 112 on Only You and Total on Can't You See, with both reaching the top 20 of the Hot 100. By the end of the year, Biggie was the top-selling male solo artist and rapper on the US pop and R&B.
Do you want to make money online in the next 60?
He appeared on the cover of The Source with the caption, "The King of New York Takes Over," a reference to his alias Frank White, based on a character from the 1990 film King of New York. At the Source Awards in August 1995, he was named Best New Artist, Solo, Lyricist of the Year, Live Performer of the Year, and his debut album of the year. At the Billboard Awards, he was Rap Artist of the Year. In his year of success, Biggie became involved in a rivalry between the East and West Coast hip-hop scenes with Shakur, now his former friend. In an interview with Vibe in April 1995, while serving time in Clinton Correctional Facility, Shakur accused Uptown Records founder Andre Harrell, Diddy, and Biggie of having prior knowledge of a robbery that resulted in him being shot 5 times and losing thousands of dollars worth of jewelry on the night of November 30th, 1994. Though Biggie and his entourage were in the same Manhattan-based recording studio at the time of the shooting, they denied the accusation. Biggie said, "It just happened to be a coincidence that Tupac was in the studio. He couldn't really say who really had something to do with it at the time. So he just kind of leaned the blame on me."
I really don't think Biggie
In 2012,
had nothing to do
a man
with
named
that
Dexter
setting up
Isaac,
Tupac situation.
serving a life sentence for unrelated
But when you
crimes,
got problems
claimed that
with
he
people,
attacked Shakur that night and that the
everybody you
robbery
got
was
problems
orchestrated
with
by
can be a
entertainment industry
possible
executive and
suspect.
former drug trafficker Jimmy Henchman. Later that year, on October 4th, 1995, Shakur signed to Death Row Records and was released from prison a week later. This made Bad Boy Records and Death Row business rivals, and thus intensified the quarrel. On March 23rd, 1996, Biggie was arrested outside a Manhattan nightclub for chasing and threatening to kill 2 fans seeking autographs, smashing the windows of their taxi cab with a baseball bat, and punching one of them. He pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. In mid-1996, he was arrested at his home in Teaneck, New Jersey, for drug and weapons possession charges. During the recording for his second album, Biggie was confronted by Shakur for the first time since the rumors started at the Soul Train Awards, and a gun was pulled. In June 1996, Shakur released Hit 'Em Up, a diss track in which he claimed to have had sex with Faith Evans, who was estranged from Biggie at the time, and that Biggie had copied his style and image. Biggie referenced the first claim on Jay-Z's Brooklyn's Finest, in which Jay-Z raps, "If Faye have twins, she'd probably have 2 packs. Get it? 2 packs says." However, Biggie did not directly respond to the track, stating in a 1997 radio interview that it was not his style to respond. On September 7, 1996, Shakur was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas and died 6 days later. Rumors of Biggie's involvement with Shakur's murder spread.
Maybe that's why Biggie
in a
don't want to
2002 Los Angeles Times series titled Who Killed Tupac Shakur, based on police reports and multiple sources. Chuck Phillips reported that the shooting was carried out by a Compton gang, the Southside Crips, to avenge a beating by Shakur hours earlier, and that Biggie had paid for the gun. Los Angeles Times editor Mark Duvoisin wrote that Phillips' story has withstood all challenges to its accuracy and remains the definitive account of the Shakur slaying. Biggie's family denied the report, producing documents purporting to show that he was in New York and New Jersey at the time. However, the New York Times called the documents inconclusive, stating, "The pages purport to be 3 computer printouts from Daddy's house, indicating that Biggie was in the studio recording a song called Nasty Boy on the night Shakur was shot. They indicate that Biggie wrote half the session, was in and out, sat around and laid down a ref, shorthand for a reference vocal, the equivalent of a first take. But nothing indicates when the documents were created." And Louis Alfred, the recording engineer listed on the sheets, said in an interview that he remembered recording the song with Biggie in a late-night session, not during the day. He could not
I'm about to cash this check for $50,000.
recall the date of the session, but said it was likely not the night Shakur was shot. "We would have heard about it," Mr. Alfred said. Evans remembered her husband calling her on the night of Shakur's death and crying from shock. She said, "I think it's fair to say he was probably afraid, given everything that was going on at that time, and all the hype that was put on this so-called beef that he didn't really have in his heart against anyone." Wayne Barrow, Biggie's co-manager at the time, said Biggie was recording the track Nasty Boy the night Shakur was shot. Shortly after Shakur's death, he met with Snoop Dogg, who claimed that Biggie declared he never hated Shakur. 2 days after the death of Shakur, Biggie and Lil Cease were arrested for smoking marijuana in public and had their car repossessed. The next day, the dealership chose a Chevrolet Lumina rental SUV for them as a substitute, despite Lil Cease's objections. The vehicle had brake problems, but Biggie dismissed them. The car collided with a rail in New Jersey, shattering Biggie's left leg, Lil Cease's jaw, and leaving Charlie Baltimore with numerous injuries. Biggie spent months in a hospital following the accident. He was temporarily confined to a wheelchair, forced to use a cane, and had to complete physiotherapy. Despite his hospitalization, he continued to work on the album. The accident was referred to in the lyrics of Long Kiss Goodnight. "You still tickle me, I used to be as strong as Ripple B till Lil Cease crippled me." On October 29, 1996, Evans gave birth to Biggie's son, Christopher C.J. Wallace Jr. The following month, Junior Mafia member Lil Kim released her debut album, Hardcore, under Biggie's direction, while the two were having a love affair. Lil Kim recalled being Biggie's biggest fan and his pride and joy. In a 2012 interview, Lil Kim said Biggie had prevented her from making a remix of the Jodeci single, Love You for Life, by locking her in a room. According to her, Biggie said that she was not gonna go do no song with them, likely because of the group's affiliation with Tupac and Death Row Records. On January 27, 1997, Biggie was ordered to pay $41,000 in damages following an incident involving a friend of a concert promoter who claimed Biggie and his entourage beat him following a dispute in May 1995. He faced criminal assault charges for the incident, which remains unresolved, but all robbery charges were dropped. Following the events, Biggie spoke of a desire to focus on his peace of mind and his family and friends. In February 1997, Biggie traveled to California to promote his album, Life After Death, and to record a music video for its lead single, Hypnotize. That month, Biggie was involved in a domestic dispute with girlfriend Charlie Baltimore at the Four Seasons Hotel over pictures of Biggie and other girls. Biggie had told Lil Cease the night prior to take the bag with the photos out of the room, but he had not. Charlie Baltimore ended up throwing Biggie's ring and watch from the hotel window. They later found the watch but did not recover the ring. Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious Big, had a remarkable yet tragically short-lived career. The rapper, whose real name was Christopher Wallace, met his unfortunate end on March 9, 1997, in Los Angeles at just 24 years old, as reported by ABC News. This loss deeply affected fans, peers, and especially his best friend Diddy. Diddy and Biggie's journey began in 1992 when they first met, orchestrated by Diddy after noticing Biggie's feature in the Source magazine's unsigned hype column, as per Pop Sugar. Recounting their initial connection, Diddy shared with Revolt via Pop Sugar, "The first time I met Big, I brought him to a soul food restaurant called Sylvia's, uptown in Harlem. I remember him sitting down and he really didn't have anything to say, so you have this big guy who has this in-your-face rap attitude but was quiet. Biggie, overwhelmed with the realization of his dream, couldn't even eat, expressing, 'I realized that's how big this moment was for him. This was really his dream. He couldn't even eat. He just wanted for this to really happen, and it happened. It was all a dream.' Tragically, that dream was shattered when Biggie was killed, a burden that Diddy feels a sense of responsibility for. Their paths crossed in the early 90s, leading Diddy to sign Biggie Smalls to Bad Boy Records. By 1994, Biggie released his debut album, Ready to Die. However, the title turned tragically prophetic when Biggie was shot in Los Angeles 3 years later. In honor of the late rapper, the record label posthumously released his album, Life After Death, the same month, as reported by ABC News. Over the years, Diddy has candidly discussed his bond with Biggie. In 2017, he revealed feeling some sort of responsibility for his friend's untimely demise while appearing on The Wendy Williams Show.
I think I always feel some sort of, responsibility because I'm in this thing with him, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's my artist, and he was supposed to go to London that night. And, I let him talk me into, not going to London and staying in LA. And that, that's something that really bothered me, throughout my life, is sometimes you have to really go with that decision in your gut. And in my gut, I was like, you need to get on the plane. But sometimes when you don't listen to your gut, and this is God's world, it's his plan.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's one of the things I regret, not making sure that he went to London.
The stories they tell, it's not truthful. And now people are sitting here believing every Biggie movie that you've seen, they say it's a drive-by. When the witness tell you the car was stood right there.
Did you know?
At the corner. The car was probably there all night.
Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Eugene Gene Deal, spilled some serious tea, claiming that Biggie's murder wasn't a drive-by, and the shooter had been waiting all night. So, back in '97, when Biggie got fatally shot in LA, Deal, who was riding with Diddy that night, dropped some bombshells. Forget the drive-by tale. He says the car was chilling at the corner, not rolling. All those movies painting it as a drive-by? According to Deal, it's all fiction. And now, folks are swallowing these stories whole. Deal spilled the real deal. Every Biggie movie says it's a drive-by. When the witness tells you the car was stood right there at the corner, the car was probably there all night. This ain't the first time Deal's dished out his thoughts. He's been saying for a while that Biggie wasn't the main target that night. In an interview last year, he dropped a bombshell. He got a tip that someone was out to get Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, at the museum party that night. "Puff, I've got some intel. The guys are coming to kill us tonight at the museum party," Deal warned him. And it's not just his words. FBI documents back up his claims. The file from 2018 reveals Deal intercepting a shady character approaching Diddy's car that night. He flashed his gun, basically saying, "Back off, dude." The suspicious guy walked away and hopped into a car parked at the same spot where Biggie got shot. According to Deal, that was the shooter's ride. Deal, Diddy, and the crew sped through the red lights classic move to avoid being sitting ducks. But here's the twist. Diddy's car breezed through, while Biggie's car halted. The document spills the details. The shooter hesitated for quite a while before shooting into Biggie's car. Because of this, Deal strongly believes Biggie was not the intended target, but that Combs was. There are many receipts that also point to Diddy, formerly known as Puff Daddy, having something to do with the death of Biggie. Reportedly, Biggie's family members, including his mom, believe that to be true. As you may have heard, Diddy has been giving publishing rights back to his former artists, and that includes Biggie, who signed to Diddy's label Bad Boy Entertainment upon its launch in 1993 and dropped his debut album, Ready to Die, in 1994. Soon after the release, Biggie was murdered, and ever since then, Diddy has been cashing in on Biggie's music. It's only now that he has given back the publishing rights to Biggie's family. Apparently, this is Diddy's way of apologizing, but as several people, including his former artists, have been saying, those publishing rights are worth nothing. Allegedly, Biggie's mom, Voletta Wallace, who has been asking Diddy to release the rights for years, is not happy about it. The family now sees that Diddy only wanted to profit from Biggie's music, especially after his death. Remember, Voletta previously revealed how little money Biggie received when he signed on with Diddy's label. She wrote about it in her 2005 book, Biggie Voletta Wallace Remembers Her Son Christopher. Based on what she wrote, she clearly didn't trust that Diddy had her son's best interests at heart. Sadly, Biggie accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured Biggie with, and it was a lot of money for him back then as a 19-year-old. He had never seen that much at one time in his life. It was enough money to make young Big believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. It was enough to buy blind love and loyalty. Reportedly, Biggie's mother still believes that Diddy may have been involved in the death of her son, and it had everything to do with money. Several other people have also said that Diddy wanted Biggie out of the way because Biggie had plans to sign to another label. He realized that Diddy was just using him. Gene Deal, a confidant, also claimed that Biggie planned to leave Bad Boy Records for a better deal elsewhere worth more than $60 million. In fact, Gene Deal confirmed that whatever happened to Biggie was definitely an inside job. There is also another former security guard who claims to have received offers to take care of Biggie. All these people can't just be imagining that Diddy had something to do with everything that happened. In addition, there were also rumors that Biggie gave Diddy a lot of good ideas about what to do with the artists on Bad Boy, both with their image and sound-wise. Biggie would mention it casually, and Diddy wouldn't say much. Next thing he knew, Diddy had the artist doing exactly what Biggie suggested, and Biggie never got a dime or any credit for the ideas he mentioned to Diddy. It's because of things like that that Biggie knew he needed to leave Bad Boy. Well, he died before he could leave the label, and just like with Tupac, the receipts have Diddy written all over them. If the receipts are anything to go by, Diddy's link to both Tupac and Biggie's deaths is pretty loud. Well, that wraps up the wild ride on the Diddy, Biggie, and Tupac saga. The twists, turns, and conspiracy theories have us all scratching our heads. Who knew the music scene could be this dramatic, right? Keep your ears peeled for more.
Yep, it's a lot of shady business going on with the boy Diddy, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. This right here was just an intro to the From Hood to Conspiracy series that I am producing. This was the first episode. The next episode will be more detailed, more of me explaining, more of me talking. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in, and later.